What's going on, everyone? Welcome to a video in which I'll be making my March Madness tournament selections. I'll also be going into some of the prospects that I'll be watching for each game. Thought that might be a kind of a good mix for a video. So without further ado, let's get right into it. I haven't really looked at the brackets very much. I know some of the matchups and stuff, but I kind of wanted to just go into this video with like no predetermined thinking or anything about any of the matchups and just kind of go based on feel and games I've watched and things like that. I get boring with the 116 matchups. I'm always going to pick the ones, especially when they're so strong, like Alabama. Alabama, of course, has Brandon Miller and Noah Clowney, two projected first round picks. Brandon Miller should go in the top five, assuming he doesn't come out or doesn't have any more legal trouble. Noah Clowney is a big with good size, can space the floor a little bit, shoots a decent amount of threes. Doesn't hit a high volume of them, but definitely someone who you could see being a stretch big that rebounds well and plays good defense at the next level. So he'll definitely be getting some interest from a lot of teams. In this 8-9 matchup, we got Maryland versus West Virginia. Ooh, pretty heavy from the users out of West Virginia here. West Virginia had a tough schedule, man. That's crazy. I'm just gonna go against the grain and pick Maryland in this one. No real reason, just feeling on that one. San Diego State, they won their conference and are a 5 seed, pretty good team. Charleston is also pretty good. Neither team played a lot of good teams. Strength of schedule is 7th for San Diego State, so that is actually good. Yeah, I really like the little times I've seen San Diego State. I like watching them play. But Charleston could definitely pull this upset. 5-12s are always tricky. But I'm just going to go with San Diego State here. Virginia and Furman. Virginia is kind of a slow it down team. This could be a potential upset as well. But I think the ACC is going to do fairly well in this tournament. I think the league's a lot stronger than a lot of people realize, considering teams like North Carolina struggled. So I'm just going to pick Virginia. So all chalk so far, I know. Way to go out on a limb. So Virginia has Reese Beekman. He's a pretty good point guard. Should maybe go late second / undrafted. But if you're going deep diving into some second round talent, that might be a guy to watch in that game. As we move on, we got Creighton versus North Carolina State. This is a pretty good 6-11 matchup. See what the numbers say here. A lot of people picking Creighton in this one. I know NC State got blown out in the ACC tournament, and their season did not end well, but I think they might be underrated. We'll see if Terquavion Smith can lead NC State on a run here. Creighton's got a pretty good defense. They got Arthur Kaluma. He should be maybe a second round pick in this draft just based on his defense. Terquavion should go in the first round most likely. Depending on where you see it, he might be mid to late first. So yeah, good matchup of a couple NBA level players there. And I'm going to go with NC State in this one. Just have a feeling that their guard play can get it done. Baylor versus UCSB. Baylor's pretty good. Yeah, I don't see an upset here. So I'm just going to go with Baylor there. So Baylor has Keontae George. He's a projected lottery guy. He's a shooting guard who can really hit from deep on three-pointers. So I don't think the Blazers will be necessarily interested in him unless they trade Anthony or something. But definitely a guy that's going to be Probably a top 10 pick or, shortly thereafter the top 10. So definitely a guy to keep an eye on there. Missouri Utah State is a intriguing matchup. Utah State actually has a higher net ranking. A lot of people have picked this as an upset game. I really like the way Mizzou played in their conference tourney, though, in the SEC tournament. So I'm going to go with them. And then Arizona Princeton. Princeton famously had a big upset when I was a teenager. But yeah, I don't think they're going to beat Arizona in this one. So I'll just pick Arizona there. So not many upsets in this particular portion of the bracket. Then going back up, I think Arizona beats Missouri there. And I also think that Baylor takes care of NC State. NC State is a team that could give them trouble, though. I think Virginia gets it done. I know it's so boring. Alabama, I like very much in this tournament, so gonna have them beating Virginia as well. And then Baylor, Arizona. Baylor has a lot of experience outside of Keontae George, but so does Arizona. I'm just gonna go 1-2 here. And then Alabama, of course, coming out of this region, just really like them a lot. All right, here on the other side, of course, Houston is the other team I absolutely love. Watched a bunch of Houston and Alabama this year, so I kind of have a fond spot for both of those teams. If Sasser's kind of hurt or not fully able to play it at 100%, that could factor in. But with him and Shed leading the way at guard, both of them can play defense, and both of them can score the ball. It's just so tough to beat a team that plays good defense and has scorers at the guard position. And Houston also has Jarris Walker, who is a freshman forward who is going to be a top 10 pick. So, yeah, just a lot of talent on that roster, and I don't think it's going to be easy to beat them. Iowa and Auburn. I haven't had a good feeling about Auburn all season. Just don't like the way they play, especially now that they don't have Jabari and Walker Kessler. So, yeah, I know they have some guards that can play defense, some wings. I just don't like their shooting that much. Really like Chris Murray for Iowa. He's obviously the twin brother of Keegan Murray, who got drafted 4th last year. Definitely someone to watch. He could be a late lottery guy or be, somewhere. His range is kind of all over the map. He might be into the 20s. Just not quite the defender that Keegan was last year. But I do really like how hard he worked to become basically a Keegan clone this year. So I'm going to vote for Chris Murray and Iowa getting it done there. Miami and Drake. Miami won the regular season ACC crown. I don't know, something about them. I always get worried about picking them. This might be a game I pick an upset on. Drake doesn't have the greatest strength of schedule. Good defense. Yeah, I don't know. They got Isaiah Wong on Miami. He can of course score, and they play good defense. But I'm gonna pick an upset here and go with Drake. Then Indiana has Shafina Hood and Trace Jackson Davis. Trace is probably a 2nd round pick. Shafina Hood has moved into the 1st round conversation. May get up in terms of the lottery. That guy has carried Indiana for several weeks now and has just made play after play. Couldn't quite get it done in the Big Ten tournament, but really like the way he plays. And I think Indiana could make a little bit of a run here. So I'll have them beating Kent State. Iowa State is another team that plays pretty good defense, and they're playing Pitt, who I believe won in the first 4 play-in round. I don't trust Pitt. I don't really trust Iowa State. I don't like either of these teams. Man, I'm just gonna take Iowa State there. Xavier is a pretty good team. Don't know much about Kennesaw State. I think I trust Xavier more here. Not really gonna pick a ton of upsets. Texas A&M and Penn State. Penn State had a pretty good run through the Big Ten tournament before losing. I believe they made it all the way to the championship game. Texas A&M played well this year. I don't trust either of these teams either, but I think I'm gonna go. With Texas A&M. They just played so well in the SEC this year. And then you got Texas versus Colgate. Only 4% of the people are picking Colgate. Actually, that's pretty high for a 2-15 matchup. But Texas is just really solid. Texas has Dylan Mitchell, who's like maybe early second round, could sneak into the first round with some good workouts. Wasn't the most productive player this year, but he's a small forward that's like 6'7" with some length athlete. Those kind of players can always find a spot at the next level, or at least get an opportunity to. So that's someone to look at in this game. And I think I'm just going to go with Texas here. And this is a pretty tough side of the bracket. I think Texas can beat Texas A&M then. In the next game, that's a tough matchup for both teams though. But yeah, I'm just going to take Texas in that one. Be boring and pick Xavier. Beat Iowa State because I don't trust Iowa State like I was saying. Indiana beating Drake. I mean, yeah, this first half of this video is just all my favorite teams. So like Houston's going on. I think Houston's going to beat Indiana. That's a great game if it happens. Xavier Texas would be a great game as well. Pick Texas, and then I think Houston's going to the Final Four as well. In the bottom half, maybe I'll get a little crazier. So we got Purdue. I think Purdue's going to win that, obviously. 16-1 matchup. Memphis and FAU. That's interesting. Memphis won the AAC tournament. FAU is pretty battle-tested for playing in Conference USA. But their strength of schedule is terrible. Yeah, I don't trust Penny Hardaway as a coach, so I'm gonna go with the 9 there. No, that's not a huge upset, but yeah, Purdue. So Purdue has Zach Edey, who's like a big 7'4" center, probably a second round pick as well. Might be the National Player of the Year. Just had a fantastic season. Once he gets low post position, most teams don't have a big man that's capable of stopping him. He's pretty dominant around the basket. And of course in college you can play zone and just have your bigs camped by the hoop. So defending the rim, it's tough to score inside on Purdue as well. So yeah, I think I like Purdue in that one. And then Duke's got a ton of prospects to watch. I really like Derek Lively, just a center who's a tremendous defender and showing some promise on the offensive end, even though he's kind of limited, can rim run, and showing maybe some passing flashes and things like that. They also have Derek Whitehead, who is kind of limited by injuries, kind of zapped some of his athleticism, much like AJ Griffin last year. But it's a guy was a potential top 10 pick heading into this season, just hasn't been able to figure it out. But that's someone who could rise back up draft boards throughout this process later on. They also have Kyle Filipowski, who's a freshman, big man who can really score the ball, has good footwork on post moves, can shoot the three a little bit. Just a tough matchup with him for most teams. They also got Tyrese Proctor who, since becoming the primary ball handler, has really taken off after struggling initially in the season. Really like his development throughout the season. And then I think I'm forgetting someone. Mark Mitchell is who I'm forgetting. And that he's like a do-it-all glue guy, the forward position. Good, solid defender. Not the greatest shooter, but can score a little bit off the dribble. I kind of compare him to like a Jay Crowder, like do-it-all type of player, does the dirty work for Duke. And of course, they have Roach, who's their most experienced player, who can score the ball. Not the biggest guy, but can definitely get it done. Oral Roberts is a really tough matchup for Duke, or for any team. They're really strong, but I just don't think they're good enough to beat Duke the way Duke has been playing to end this season. So I'm going to pick Duke there. Tennessee has just really struggled down the stretch. They're still a pretty good team, but I think Ziegler's out for the tournament, so it's going to be tough for them. I know a lot of people like Tennessee, though. I'm going to pick an upset here. I'm going to go with Louisiana. Probably dumb, but whatever. And then in this game, I'm going to have Duke beating Louisiana. Down here at the bottom, we got Kentucky. Kentucky versus Providence. This could be another good matchup. Yeah, I think Kentucky. I think I'll take Kentucky. Got Cason Wallace. Good defending guard. Still needs to improve offensively, but someone to watch is like a late lottery guy as well. Mid-first round type talent. Kansas State has had a phenomenal year going up against Montana State here. Yeah, I think I'm going to pick K-State. They're just too good, I think. And then Michigan State, USC. Man, I hate watching USC play. I just don't feel like they live up to some of the talent they have. Also, Michigan State, I feel the same way about. I don't like this game at all. Just going to think that maybe Tom Izzo can coach them up. And then we got Marquette versus Vermont. Marquette, of course, won the Big East. They're a very good team. Yeah, I don't see this happening. So I'll just pick Marquette there. I think Marquette will beat Michigan State. And then I got Kentucky, Kansas State. I'll go with Kansas State winning that one. And then beating Marquette as well. And then I think Duke pulls the upset of Purdue. They're one of the teams that has some size that can combat Zach Edey, and then I really like Duke to beat Kansas State and come out of this part of the bracket in the East, and they'll take on Alabama in the Final Four. A non-1 seed making it all the way for you guys. On the other part, we have Kansas led by shooting forward Grady Dick, and then also Jalen Wilson. It's kind of another one of those do-it-all type forwards. So yeah, two good players there. They obviously should beat Howard here in that one. Arkansas has a ton of NBA talent, led by Nick Smith Jr. Jordan Walsh is someone who was projected to be very high, but kind of fell off with his struggles this year. Illinois is a tough matchup, but I think Arkansas could win there. St. Mary's, VCU. VCU beat Dayton in their conference championship. St. Mary's, I think, lost to Gonzaga. They have Gonzaga and St. Mary's in the same bracket. Interesting. Yeah, St. Mary's is so fundamentally sound and they just play hard. But something about them bugs me. I'm not the biggest VCU guy either, but I think I'm just going to pick the upset. And then we got UConn, Iona. UConn kind of got screwed with the seeding a little bit, and this is a tough matchup. But Jordan Hawkins, wing that can shoot the ball, score for UConn. I think he helps them get over the top here and beat Iona. And then I'm gonna get crazy on this part of it. I'm gonna have UConn beating VCU, and then I'm gonna have Arkansas upsetting Kansas there in the second round. And as we go back to the bottom here, so we got TCU, got Miles leading the way at point guard. They're playing the winner of ASU and Nevada. ASU had some big wins down the stretch of the season, but I think I like TCU here. Gonzaga, Tori always says that they don't have the best team. He's not expecting anything out of them. I say that's when a team's most dangerous is when their own fans don't think they are. So I'm going to pick Gonzaga to beat Grand Canyon there. Northwestern versus Boise State. Yeah, I'm definitely going upset here. Boise State into the second round. And then UCLA versus UNC Asheville. UCLA, man, that injury to Jalen Clark is so bad for them. But they're still a very talented team that can win a lot. So I'll have them winning there. I think they beat Boise State too. Gonzaga will beat TCU. And then that's a really tough game for both teams there. Let's just have some fun and go with Gonzaga upsetting the UCLA in that round. And then I'm going to actually have Arkansas winning here and then winning over Gonzaga. So I'm going to have an 8th seed in my final 4. So was boring at the first part, but got a little out of control there in that bracket. Like I said, decided to have some fun there. But I just think Houston's too good to lose that one. So I'll put Houston there. And then, yeah, these have been my favorite 2 teams, Houston and Alabama, all season. Could Duke upset Alabama? Yes, they could. That's going to be a fantastic game. I want to have 2 1 seeds in the thing. I just want to pick who I think will win. I don't really care about being right with an upset or whatever. Yeah, I really like Alabama. I think they're so good. And then in the championship, Alabama versus Houston, I am going to go with, let's pick my final score, combined score. Just say 145. What do these teams average? 82 and 75. So that would be a low scoring game for them. I'm going to bump that up to 155. All right. So who am I going to pick? Alabama or Houston? Who is the national championship on my obviously perfect winning bracket? This is another game that's just loaded with NBA talent. I really like Houston's defense. Alabama's got pretty good defense as well. I'm just going to go with Houston and say Calvin Sampson and the Houston team will win it all. And I just hope like heck Sasser is okay and able to be at full strength. So here we go, submitting Houston as my national champion. And there we go. Bracket name. Just put my name. Congrats, your picks have been saved. The Houston Cougars are your national champion. All right. So that's it. Those are my picks. Really looking forward to watching the games on Thursday and Friday. First round is one of my favorite days of the year. Thank you everyone for watching this video. Hope to see you on the next one. Hope you enjoy watching those games as well. And until next time, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.